Hello, and welcome to Abby Tyler's Healthy Living. My name is Abby Tyler. I'm your host, a family nurse practitioner, a health and wellness blogger, and a community volunteer. And here we discuss evidence based health information regarding mind, body, and soul with a holistic emphasis. Thanks for joining me on this journey of health and wellness. Please enjoy the show. Hello, hello, hello. As I can hear you guys. My name is Abby. I'm just gonna share this real quick. Sorry. My name is Abby. Your Healthy Living and P. Welcome to our regular Tuesday show. Please share the show. Please share the show. And but this here for a second. I'm gonna get to my notes, get my glasses on. Okay. Alrighty. So hello, ATH Alice. Somebody asked why I say ATH Alice. Abby Tyler's Healthy Living, and then those were part of Abby Tyler's Healthy Living, ATH Alice. I know. Anyways, but welcome. Please invite others. Please invite others here. As you can see, today's topic is back to school health checklist. Okay. So at this time of the year, everybody's busy. Some, as I know, some people have already gone, some kids have already gone back to school. And some college students have already gone back. They're on campus and all, but majority of the people will be going back later on in August and then very early September, depending on the part of the country you live in, also the part of the world you live in, and all that. Okay, so and we bought there. We're buying the outfits. You know, your first day of school, your outfits got to be laid out nicely. That whole week, I used to be like the whole first week, you got all your outfits planned out. By week two, you're like, okay, yeah, this is enough. All right, I'm about to go back to summer. But you got the outfit, you got the new shoes, you got everything ready for them to go. And but then it's like, okay, you have to make sure that they're going to be healthy when they go back, and all the things that you have to do to be healthy for them to go back. This is not going to be like a really long show, okay? So some of it I'm going to be reviewing, okay? So please again invite others, and as always, my disclaimer: I am your provider. I am a provider, but I'm not your provider. So please do not make any changes to your regimen without checking with your own provider. Again, share the show. Again, I'm also trying to raise money to bring you more evidence-based content. But if you cannot contribute, please share the show because it may not be relevant to you, but it may be relevant to somebody else. So welcome everybody. Welcome if you're joining me on Focus on Liberia and also on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Share the show. Okay, so let me just go back here for a second. So we're going to be doing our back to school checklist. Okay. So what are some of the things that you want to do when you first start? Let me just go in here and I will get my stuff together. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Okay. I'm doing this from my phone. Sorry. Alrighty, so let's get together first. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, alrighty, first find the right healthcare provider for you and your child. Okay, by now you probably already have a pediatrician, but if you don't have a pediatrician, pediatrician is the doctor that takes care of children from birth all the way. Some are going to stop at age 18. Some will go as far as like 23 or so. So depending on, and then there are also general doctors, primary care doctors that take care of all. Well, we train all of that. We train to take care of the whole group, but you know, some doctors, primary care doctors, don't take care of the younger ones, but they may have a pediatrician in their office too. So get that doc, you know, if that's the person you want to go to, make sure you have somebody and that's right for you. Okay. So because sometimes you may be like, okay, I like this doctor provider, NPPA. Somebody said, why do you always say doctor? You're, you know, so P provider. Alrighty. And make sure that person you made care for them as an adult. Okay, you say, okay, I'm the, you know, adult doctor, he does everything, she does everything for me and all that, but for my child I need somebody who's like, you know, trained in pediatrics to take care of my child. So make sure you can always ask your own doctor about it. Say if you have like a new child, your child, you just move into the neighborhood, you just move into the state, you just move into the community hall, check around with the primary care doctor, check the local schools, check the hospitals, the social workers and all. You can check and find a doctor. So make sure you have that rapport with your pediatrician. Okay, because it's not just somebody who's going to be taking care of your child. You have to have that agreement with them. You have to have that relationship with them. So it's very important that you find that person and find out too of some schools also have like doctors or they have care providers that come in to also do physicals too. So you can always check with them, and they come in periodically too. So check with that. Okay. And your doctor, when you go see your doctor will be able to give you the full overview of everything that you need. The paperwork, we don't have like the direct paperwork that goes with specific schools or school districts and all. So, but call, set up the appointment and all that, so you can do that. Okay. So if your school wants you, and they can answer any questions you may have also. And the next one would be is to make an appointment for a physical. Now it's important that if they make, when I used to see students like around July and August, it's like was bombarded with like so many physicals. So it's important. I tell sometimes when they come in and they'll be like, when do I need it? I had took care of people who are like 16 and above. And they'll say, when I said, when do you need it? Oh yeah, by this week, by the end of this week. I was like, no, you can't. Because just imagine when you come in for that physical, already we do the physical, I do the physical examination, all that, but then there's like a whole thing where I have to match up all the immunizations, everything else and all that. So it's very important that you make an appointment to come in very early, because just in case if you need, medication, or you need vaccinations or stuff like that, or and your list immunization, vaccinations and all that. So same thing. But if you have that list of your immunizations and it's not correct or it's not up to date, and you need a booster, meaning that you had that medication, you had a vaccination a long time ago, and they need you to get another one to boost it, to boost your immunity, it may take you a while to go get that shot, or you have to get blood work, and also, and I can clear you to go back to school if you have not, you don't have everything together. So that could delay you. So if you come in and say, I need it by Friday, or I need it 2 days from now, that's not going to work. So make sure you make that appointment long in advance, because I also tell people to, when you come in to see, when you go see your healthcare provider, there are always like almost like 50 people who've already come in too. So all that paperwork is also pending too. So we have to go by priority. We see the ones that come first, we get that done. Unless if there's something that's really, really important that we need to get to right away, we may put but it's always important. Call first, make that appointment way ahead of time. All right. Especially for those of you who still have until like September to go back to school. And those of you who are also, again, moved from other states and the different communities and all, call the school and see what they need. Make that appointment as early as possible, especially for physical, because it's very difficult to put you in for a physical. If you're coming for a follow-up, we can squeeze you in here and there. For a physical, it takes a little while, okay, because it's like again, it's like really time consuming. So we have to do a full physical examination and also do all this paperwork. So make sure you're making that appointment way ahead of time. Don't wait to the last minute, and don't wait till the papers due like next week or stuff like that. Call ahead, make that appointment as soon as possible. Alrighty. Also for your, and again, like I said, your immunizations and your booster shots. All right. Bring all your paperwork with you, especially if you're coming from out of the state, out of the country too. Especially bring all that paperwork with you, because we have to be able to compare it and also put it together, make it look nice for your school. If you don't, especially if you're in some, be ready to get shots. If they're doing the shots right at your doctor's office, prepare your children already. Tell them about it. Say, okay, you may need some shots. Start preparing it, because you don't want to just bring it on, spring it on. Then that, yes, I need shots right away, and they start crying. Little kids. Nobody likes to be. I don't like to be stuck either. So prepare them. Say you may need to get shots, booster shots. So prepare them, but make sure you bring all your paperwork in. If you don't have the paperwork, if you don't have your up-to-date vaccines and all, you may need to get shot, because we can't prove that you never got it. We have to have a proof that said, okay, yes, you may have it, but you don't have the paperwork. You may need a booster. So please make sure when you come in for your physical, do not forget to bring your paperwork in. If somebody's at home or somewhere else and they can email it while you're at the doctor's office, get that. But there's nothing we can do if you don't bring it in, or like I said, you may need to get a shot just to update it. All right. And prepare your kids, especially the little ones too. And also for those of you who are going away to college, or what are you staying home or going to college, or you may need booster shot if you're going to certain schools that require the COVID vaccine and all that, TB shots, because some places we do the skin test for TB. Most times we just do the blood work now, so we have to wait for that to come back. So do not wait. Get in there as soon as possible. Get your paperwork and call to, tell them, we'll tell you, be ready for at least 2 weeks. And most doctors' office do, they have to sign on the wall stating how long it takes for a form to be filled out. You may be thinking, oh, how long does it take to fill out a form? It takes a little while, again, because there are other people ahead of you, and that we have to get other things done. It's not just physical for schools. We have so many other things, surgical clearances and all that. So make sure, for your sake and your child's sake, get it ahead of time. Okay. Get it in there way ahead of time. Alrighty, and also to refill emergency medications. If you know your child's diabetic, or they have asthma, or they take other medications for behavior issues, they may have ADHD or other things that's going on. You want to check You want to check with them first and say, okay, let me call let me call and see if I need to have it renewed, because I need to have that supply in the nurse's office. Most schools they can't have any medication with them. I think maybe the inhaler, but most schools you cannot have any medications with them at all. I think there was somewhere somebody brought them their parents' preparation H to the school, and then everybody started sharing it, and it was like the whole big thing because for inflammation it burns and all. So you know kids, but make sure that you call the school and say, okay, my kids need to take this medication, I need to fill out this paperwork, I need to get this medication in. And again, when you call in the pediatrician, call first, I need to get this in as soon as possible, because the school's not going to you cannot have the medication on you. They're not allowed to have them back. If you could get in a big trouble if you have it with them, even medications like Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of that, they cannot have any medications with them. So it's important that you get all that refills way ahead of time. And sometimes you might say, okay, I'm just calling to get my child refills, and I can go run to the pharmacy and pick it up. But that's not possible, because some doctors may say, I need you to come into the office, I need to see that child. And because we have to read the medications over, see if they really need that medication, maybe may need to change the dosages and all that. So it's important that you call ahead of time and get that, because you don't want a child missing the first day of school or missing the whole first week of school because you didn't get this in time. I know it can be really busy. I've been there when I had younger kids. I know I understand that, but try to make that like a ritual, like make it as early as possible so you don't run into these problems. Okay. And sometimes you may have the older sibling who's like old enough, can take them at least 18 years old. Okay. Because they're going to be discussing stuff, or, standing there and you can be on the phone. Not the kids. Now you have to, an adult has to be there. All right. So get that in as soon as possible, again, because most schools you cannot have any medications on them. All right. Get all those medications, because they need that. They need the insulin, they need the inhaler, they need all of that. Okay. And all the paperwork has to be set into the school nurse, way ahead of time. Alrighty. So the next one will be, let me see, get emergency paperwork regarding for food and drug allergies too, because you go into school. If your child has peanut allergies or some kind of drug allergy, anything like that, just in case you have an emergency and you have to go to the nurse's office and they have to give you medication, that nurse has to know that I cannot get this medication based on that. Or if I'm going to be giving emergency medication, I'm giving it based on the fact that I know this person has no allergies and no other medical history that may interact with that. So it's important that you do that, get the paper in again, get a paper in, get the paper in. Alrighty. And my next one is invest in healthy lunch preparations now. Start doing that now. I know the kids are at school. Nobody wants to be sitting there eating salad or carrots and all that, but you can still just add a little bit in there. You prepare the food. We all know that most parents don't have time to prepare food in the morning or even at night, depending on when you work and all. So you can just slip in a healthy meal in there somewhere. Put in some carrots, or put it on. You start telling them, okay, when you go to school, when they're passing out the food and all that, try to get one thing healthy. It doesn't have to be some healthy thing, because the kids are they're not going to be sitting there and their friends are going to be teasing them. You may say, oh, don't pay attention to what Johnny said, don't pay attention to what Susie said. They're kids. They're gonna, at that age and all that, there's no way they're not gonna pay attention to what other kids are saying. Okay, so just kind of start investing in there. Start telling them now at this point, yes, I know you're like 8, 9 years old and you're younger than that. Start investing in healthy eating now, so that can carry them long before. Because remember, now most of the kids are growing up right now. Most of them are developing early onset type 2 diabetes. Most of the time it's a type 1, but it's type 2. So you don't want them getting diabetes so early on in life, because the earlier they're diagnosed with diabetes and all that, too, the earlier, when they're in their 20s and 30s, they start suffering other complications, like you're talking about talking about your eye, your vision start going, you start having complication issues like circulations, heart issues, and all of that. So the earlier you start now, and make sure you keep them healthy, to keep them active, because most schools don't have. I think some of the schools are cutting off the physical education time, gym time, and all. Sometimes it's only once a week. So try to, when they come home, they're running around and you're watching them, you take them to the park at least 2 to 3 times a week, so they stay healthy, they stay active. Okay. So invest in that too. So invest in early lunch preparation now, or at least start slipping in something healthy every day. If they take a lunch box to school, or at least take them some, or make sure like lunch or dinner is healthy too. And then when they're home during the week, they eat healthy. All right. Not saying make them feel like they're just eating something bland and cardboard. Teach them now. Start it now. Okay. And you yourself have to eat a little healthy too, because you can't be eating anything or everything, and there you trying to teach them to eat healthy. No. Okay. Especially if you already have issues in your family like high blood pressure, diabetes, strokes, and all that. Start with that early. Okay. You can't prevent everything. You can't keep them wrapped up in a bubble, but you can start healthy. Okay. Healthy lifestyle starts from the beginning. Alrighty. So going here. Check your backpack for proper fit. I know back in the day when we used to be in school, we'd take our backpack and we'll put it on our shoulders and it's looking so cool. And you don't want to be sitting there with a backpack over your both shoulders and all. But that's coming back in, and I've been seeing that a lot now because most of these kids, especially now since the American Academy of Pediatrics came out and say you're not supposed to be, don't put that on one side of your shoulder, because what happens, the heavy bag, especially some kids carry all their bags home, all their books home and all. I knew I used to bring most of my books home too because my locker was way far away and I didn't have time to go in to pick everything. So I just take everything and bring everything home. But don't put it in your shoulder, because what's going to happen, that's going to start curving your spine. And some people already have a little bit of curvature because it's called scoliosis and all, but that can, cause long-term problem in the future. So make sure, watch their weight and all that. I think they have like a website you can go on, see what they are. But the most important thing is you don't have to bring every book home, but at the same time, make sure they're wearing their backpack on both shoulders. Okay. Wearing it on both shoulders. And if you have to have a little bag, have a little bag. All right. So if you're just joining us, this is Abby Tyler's Healthy Living page. I am on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. If you're watching me from Focus on Liberia or YouTube, welcome. Alrighty. And again, we're talking about the back to school checklist, health checklist for your younger school age kids and older kids too. Alrighty. So we are at did the backpack, and let me go in here. Sorry. Okay. So also for I did digital, because especially for those who are going to the transitional years, we're going to transitional years now already. So that would be from like kindergarten to like first grade, fourth grade. At some schools, like they have that all every grade from kindergarten to like eighth grade at one school, most like private schools, and then they have the high school. But then also there are schools who have from like first grade to fourth grade, and then fourth to seven. So you have your elementary, and then you have your middle school, which is also junior high and also high. Sometimes like one grade in between, depending on your district and all. So it's very important when you have a child that's going through the transitional years, going into like the first grade, like I said, going into fourth or fifth grade, or going into high school. That can be very, 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 very. I mean, it can be a very trying time, in their kids' life, especially when you go in from like you go into fifth grade to from junior high to high school, or from elementary to junior high. That's the age where kids are like really understanding themselves, coming into themselves now. Their body's changing. You start really getting into, and the peer pressure is more for them now than it was for us, because back in our day when somebody teases you, they tease you. Okay, now it's like somebody can sit there and put like 20 people or 100 people on a chat, and next thing you know, everybody knows that you're wearing something, quote unquote uncool to school, or something about you that looks like a nerd, or whatever it is that kids will find any reason to pick on you, just for any reason. You have a different sounding name, you have an accent, you have something, just anything. Okay. And back then it was like one-on-one, somebody teasing you or a few people teasing you. But now the social media is there, and they have to go through a lot of pressure. You go online and it's all these filters and all these different things. There's nothing wrong with using filter, but when you're that young, you're thinking, oh my God, this person is so beautiful, everything about them is so this, everything about them is, everything is just so perfect. And why don't I look like that? Why am I not like that? So don't you start talking to them. Immigrant parents, okay, please don't just say, okay, yes, you came to America, you what do you have to be worried about? You have food on the table, you have clothes in your bag, you have this and all that too. What do you have to worry about? Yes, immigrant children, or first generation immigrant children, or children who came before, go through the same thing. Okay, not because they came from somewhere and they're happy to be here, doesn't mean they're not going through that. Your brain and everything still goes through the same thing. All right, so please talk to your children. Please leave yourself open to talk to them, or provide a safe space for them to talk to another relative or social worker, guidance counselor, school, and all that. But talk to them very often. How's the school today? Don't ask them questions. They're just going to be like, how was school today? Fine. Because most kids will just tell you fine. And if they're being bothered and all that, they don't want to talk about it. And they especially don't want you coming to the school to fight their battles for them. So leave that space open to talk to them. The transitional years can be very, very hectic. Also, for those of you who have young girls, between maybe age 8 to 9, because that's when girls start going into puberty. Okay, start showing signs of puberty and all that. that's when most of the time they're gonna send you a letter home and tell you they're gonna be talking to them about puberty and pubescent years and all that, everything that goes around with the body changing. They also send a letter home for the boys too. So for girls, they're going to be talking, they're going to have a class with that, but also you as the parent, you can also talk to them. There's so many resources now. They can watch YouTube, but you don't want to just watching it without having questions to ask. You can talk to their pediatrician, they can give you other resources, but they're going to be going, that's a very trying time for a young girl. Okay, so it's like you running around, you're having fun one day, and next thing you know, your body's changing and they don't know what's going on, and you want to tell them, especially how to prepare for themselves, especially when like maybe 8 to 9, the average age when they see their period about maybe 10 to 11ish. All right, depending on your family background and all that, your mother's time, sometimes it could be from your father's side too. So it's important that they may see their first period during this time when they go to school this year. So you want to make sure you talk to them about that and have the little bag. Some of them's not used to carrying a little purses and things like that, but they may have to. You can say we'll take a little thing and put it in their bag, but what if they have to go to class and all, they just leave in the classroom, and also it'll be everybody see this little bag that once a month. And so it's important that start teaching them, put your little pads in there. Some people don't like to talk about tampons right away because especially when they're younger and they don't know how to work around it, that can cause like serious problem if they don't know how to work it the right way. So talk to them about it. Have a little emergency kit. Make sure they know how to run to the nurse if there's anything happen, and so that way they're not in shock when it does happen. Okay, I did do a show on how to talk to your young daughters about having a talk about the change, and also I did a show about how to have the talk with the boys. I'm going to put it in the feature section of this of my forum. Okay, you can look at it, and I'm also going to put in the comment section of this too. Okay, so make sure you watch that if you need any questions about that. If you have any questions about talking to your kids about that, go ahead. So make sure you prepare them, because you don't want her coming home and then we had a friend who they didn't talk to her daughter, and in America here, and she came home one day and she like stayed in the tub for like 3 hours until her mother came home, kept washing herself over and over, and she thought she was dying. Okay, so it's important that you talk to them. I know as adults again, and also from you coming from a foreign background, that's not something you want to talk about, because then you have to talk about the whole thing. Why do I need to be in my period? Why do I need to do this? Why do I need to do that? Then you thinking that, oh my God, if I do talk to them about that, or if I do talk to my son about this, and then that's going to go into something else, and I don't feel comfortable about it. Your child's changing, regardless of whether you want to or not. Your child's changing, so it's important to talk to them about it. Okay. And I talked about peer pressure, and also when your child comes home and they say they're not feeling well, sit there again and talk to them, because the mental health is very important. All these kids are like high risk of having depression, high risk of also suicidal and homicidal ideations. Fingers crossed this year for your kids, or all our kids, to go to school, all right, and come and end the school year alive. Back in the day, it used to be like, oh, but nowadays we pray to God or whoever your higher power is, that they go to school and finish the school year alive. Talk about gun safety to your kids also. If you have guns in your home, make sure you keep them safe. Okay, nobody's saying that you shouldn't have your guns and whatever it is that you want to do, keep them safe. Talk to your kids about gun safety. Talk to your kids, speak to them more and more about their feelings, whatever feelings they're having, so they're not taking that gun and using that as answer to whatever they're going through. And if you know your child has some issues and all that, and you have weapons around the house, please, that's even more important that you keep it locked up, or you may not need to have it in your house. Talk to your doctors about it. Talk to your pediatrician about it. Okay, your kid's pediatrician is very, very important. I cannot stress that enough. Okay, because I mean, you don't want to be the parent of the child that goes and commit something like that, and also you don't want the parent of the child that you have to bury your child before you. That's one of the most painful thing. I think that's the most painful thing in the whole world. Okay. All right. So it's very important that if you have weapons in the house, especially guns, you keep them locked. You talk to your child about gun safety. If your child has any issues that you think there's something going on, it's very important that even more so that you don't have the gun all the different places and all that, because also for domestic violence too, we talk about that, having weapons around the house. All right. So please be a safe gun owner. All right. And also start talking to them about drunk driving too, because at this point in their life, the older ones are going to be hanging out with their friends and they want to be cool. They're going to be getting a driver's license and all. So please explain that. And also, all the politics, all the things that are going on, they see that all summer long. Don't think they're so naive to everything that's going on, politics and social welfare and all. They're coming from this household, coming from that household, and they're coming to school with their beliefs. Okay, they don't just leave that at the door. In as much as we want them to do that, they don't just leave that at the door. And they're little kids, and they take everything into that. They put that all into the system. So making sure that if your teacher is going to be talking about it, or that conversation is going to be talking about it, and your kids feel uncomfortable about it, tell them not to even get involved. Just doesn't make them, whatever, scaredy cat or whatever they want to call. Just don't get involved in it. Don't get involved in the conversations. Don't get involved in the conversations. All right, because something that could be something really minor could turn into something major, because depending on what home they live in, all right, and what the beliefs are, you don't want to bring that into the school system. Okay. Or if the teacher is going to talk about it, make sure, I hope that teacher is mature enough to be able to like explain it, and in a way where kids are their mind so immature and still developing, that they can sit there and have that conversation and not need to leave anything on the table or leave something unanswered, and the kids take it into their own hands. All right. Again, making sure they have this hand sanitizers. Also, COVID vaccine. COVID's coming back. COVID never left, but a lot of people are getting sick from it too. If your child has other issues like asthma and things like that, it will make them sicker. Make sure, talk to your school and see if they need to get the shot, a booster shot, or whatever. Okay. So keep them safe. And they're going to be dating again, like going back to the puberty part. As they get older, you may not want them dating. That's fine. That's up to you. That's what is your culture, religion, or just family rules. You may not want them. That doesn't mean they're not going to have feelings. Okay, because that's just a natural part of life, that your kids are going to get older, going to have feelings and all that, and move on to get married or not get married or whatever it is they choose to do. Okay, so don't shame them. And I know some cultures is like, you by the time the girl starts having a crush on somebody, next thing you know, they're calling her fast and this and this. Don't do that, because you wouldn't do that to boys. Don't do that to the girls. All right. It's important. Yes, they're going to have those feelings. Those are natural feelings. Just acknowledge it. Sometimes they don't want you to acknowledge it anyway, and be done. If they're going to be dating, make sure you meet the parent of the other person, sit them down and talk, because they're still minors, and also you still have a little bit control over them. Okay. So talk to them and say, this is what my culture, this is my family, this is what I'm expecting. And mothers or sons, please talk. Don't think, oh yeah, I'm not going to talk to my son about this. I'm only going to talk to my daughter about being, the way she's supposed to be doing, and boys will be boys. Do not do that. Okay, we are at a generation now. My kids are older, but even if you're younger than that, at the generation to like sit there and shape the future of future generations. So as it is now, talk to your sons and talk to your daughters. Don't just talk to your daughters, talk to your sons and your daughters. Okay. However, for women, for young girls and all, if anything happens and you get pregnant, you're the one that's going to have to be carrying that burden, because there's, you can do the child support, you can do all the different things. That doesn't mean that person's going to be there. So also protect yourself too. Alrighty. And if you do get pregnant, it's not the end of the world. But I'm not promoting any of that. I'm promoting it's mostly was okay. We want abstinence, this and all that too. But we're in real life. Okay. So, but most important thing, make sure your kids are ready for school. Make the appointment with their doctors. Make it early on. Make sure you invest in early the eating healthy now, so that can go on from there, so you can prevent or delay as much any kind of complications and disease process like diabetes, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and all those different things. You can't control everything, but you can do as much as you can to keep them healthy. Again, the most important thing I will say tonight, that if you're a gun owner, please be a responsible gun owner. Okay. Make sure if you have, your child has some issues and all, even if your child doesn't have some issues and all, make sure you have that gun locked somewhere. And we pray for all our kids to be healthy this year. Okay. We pray for all our kids to be healthy, go to school. And also, again, make sure any other illnesses their family have, make sure you tell your pediatrician that. I forgot to say that, because God forbid if they decide to play any sports and all, and you saw what happened to LeBron James' son. It may not be anything that's in the family, but it's just important that you bring that to the pediatrician's attention too. They're going to be asking that. So make sure, don't hide it. Bring it to the pediatrician's attention. They may not be able to play certain sports, and that's okay. All right. You may have this dream of them being this next football player, big person and all. It may not be possible because of whatever is going on. If they have any kind of illness or anything like that, that may kind of hamper that. Okay. So just find other reasons to do it. And please don't put the kids in so many different activities. Okay. People have like, oh, they're in this because I wanted a college application to look good. I wanted this. I wanted to be well-rounded. I want to be this. No, don't overdo it, because you're just going to overburden yourself. And parents, of course, take care of yourself, take care of yourself, take care of yourself. You don't have to be a perfect parent, and don't beat your head over it. Don't beat yourself over the head because you didn't do something perfect and all that. There are no perfect parents. There are no perfect kids. There are no perfect parents. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I think I said a lot. I don't see any questions there this time. Let me see here. Did I see any comments? And my kind says, love listening to your platform. I was always intrigued by your advice and info. Thanks as always, Miss Abby. Love tuning in every Tuesday. Thank you. And don't forget to invite others. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining in and invite others. All right. Share the show, share the show, share the show. Alrighty. So again, thank you all for tuning in. For those of you who are tuning now, I say thank you. I don't make the shows too long that much anymore because it's summertime also. And then also people get a little distracted very easily. And for those of you who will be watching later, I say thank you. Again, I'm asking for you to donate whatever it is. But if you cannot donate, the most important thing is please share the show because it could be relevant to somebody else. Okay. If you have any other additional questions or comments, let's continue it in the comment section. I usually go back and review questions and comments. And if I have to answer anything, please let me know. Okay. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching. Next week is our 9th year anniversary. So I will be do a little bit of celebration. Okay. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful night. And we pray to God for a safe, and successful school year. Okay. Thank you all. Good night. Stay safe. Stay healthy.